J.D. Vance, the Republican vice presidential candidate. He is the one who Donald Trump has personally named as his closest aide after, very possibly, returning to the White House.
Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid.
The under 40-year-old Vance, a senator from Ohio, takes a keen interest in the situation in Poland, and he is very concerned about the actions of Donald Tusk and his government. Vance has written a letter to the Secretary of State Antony Blinken. He expresses serious doubts about Tusk's government's takeover of public media. The layoffs of employees of Polish television, Polish radio and the Polish press agency, which began immediately after Prime Minister Donald Tusk and his political allies took power, raises questions about the new government's commitment to media freedom and the rule of law. J.D. Vance, senator from Ohio.
J.D. Vance odnosi to do sytuacji amerykańskiej.
J.D. Vance relates this to the U.S. situation and asks why the U.S. administration commented heavily on events in the media and so on while Law and Justice, which is a conservative but very America-friendly government, was in power, but has nothing to comment on, nothing to say to actual, obvious violations of the law. The Republican senator and vice presidential candidate writes directly, "What we are seeing in Poland is a literal assault on democracy." And he accuses Joe Biden of hypocrisy for turning his head when the rule of law and democracy are violated in Poland.
Any comment on the political change in Poland? I think that's very good.
J.D. Vance disagrees with this assessment and on a social networking site explains to American internet users how democracy is being brutally destroyed after the change of power in Poland. The Liberals who recently took power in Poland are now arresting political opponents and shutting down public debate. In an alleged effort to protect democracy, they are using taxpayer money to attack the previous government, which was a great ally of ours. If he becomes vice president and there is a Polish theme somewhere, a Polish issue, cooperation with the Polish government, then he can allude to that. Tusk's attacks on Republicans who did not support a financial aid package for Ukraine were met with a firm response from Vance. Poland's new leader arrests political opponents and owes his country's security to my generosity. He might consider showing a little gratitude, or at least toning down his own authoritarian inclinations. The senator is pressing the current US authorities not to be indifferent to law-breaking in Poland. I urge you to encourage the new government to rethink actions that undermine freedoms dear to both Polish and American citizens. With all certainty, if from January 2025 it is these people who will be in charge of US policy, they will certainly not be indifferent to such things as are happening in Poland today, and are more reminiscent of times long gone. What is noteworthy about the Tusk government's actions, which are contrary to the rule of law, is said by a man who may soon be the second person of the world's greatest superpower. Candidate for leader of the superpower Donald Trump made his first public appearance since his assassination attempt at the Republican convention in Milwaukee. Delegates greeted him with the same cheers he raised after surviving an assassination attempt on his own life. Trump, with a bandage on his ear, attended the convention during which he was announced as the Republican candidate for president.
Very enthusiastic, like there's hope, like there's hope. The man is tough. He is tough and he'll fight for every American.
Joe Biden, who has been calling for Trump to be taken at face value, is now curtly explaining his words.
Focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was, there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
At the same time, Biden continues to say that Trump is a threat to democracy, but the Republican was stopped neither by political attacks nor by an attempt to take his life. Martin Shevchuk, TV Republica.